Hi, and welcome back to Deep Six Wrestling. I'm your host, Just Pat, and this is another episode of 5 Matches to Watch, the series in which I give you my personal recommendations on 5 matches that happened from across the world of pro wrestling this past week. The only stipulation is that there can only be 1 match per show. So, for example, not an entire WWE card, not an entire AEW card, or not an entire New Japan card. You get the gist. With that being said, be sure to hit the subscribe button down below. Be sure to leave a like on this video. Leave a comment with what matches you enjoyed this past week from really any promotion, or if you have like a local indie fed you attend or watch, I guess. Just leave down some match recommendations if you have any, really. Besides that, go follow us over on Twitter at Deep Six Wrestling for live coverage of all wrestling events from this coming weekend. There's NXT TakeOver UK Cardiff, there's Royal Quest, and then the big one is AEW's All Out pay-per-view. So go follow us over there for live coverage. And without further ado, let's get into this week's video. Coming in number 5 this week, we have Jordan Devlin versus Kenny Williams from NXT UK. And truth be told, I don't really watch NXT UK that often. I try to catch it as when I can or when I see that there's a match that interests me. But with TakeOver Cardiff happening on Saturday afternoon for me, I figured I might as well try to catch up on some of it. So I tuned into this week's show, and out of all the matches on there, I think this was probably the one that was most notable for me. It was the main event. And I've been a big Jordan Devlin fan since I first saw him in I guess it was the first UK tournament for WWE. I thought he has a great look. I know some people call him like Baby Balor or not Finn Balor, but I really think he has a good presence with him, and I think his in-ring skills are worth noting on their own. So I am very interested to see what happens with him in NXT UK. I know he's a heel over there now, but apparently he's a very good babyface, like outside of WWE. So I wouldn't be surprised if they end up going that route if that's the case. And I know he has a pre-existing feud with Walter. I want to say in like OTT maybe. Not too sure, but either way, I think Jordan Devlin's somebody to keep an eye on, and I think this match proves it. Again, some great heel work from him here. And Kenny Williams, I don't know the first time I saw this guy wrestle. I want to probably say it was the one, I think he was on like an episode of 205 Live when they did like a cross show during like the Enzo era with a bunch of the UK stars, and I think he was there. Don't remember who he wrestled, but I think he's pretty good. He's fast. He's got some interesting moves, and he seems like a really strong babyface. So I'd like to see more of him, but out of the two of them, I think Jordan Devlin is easily the bigger star. So definitely interested in that. Neither of them are on the UK TakeOver card, so this is like their match for this weekend. So definitely go check it out on the network if you're not caught up on NXT UK. They've been, from what I've seen, they've been trying to change up the product to make it feel not just like it's like a smaller, I guess, knockoff version of regular NXT. It has its own production flares, and I really like that about it because it does make it feel different than what we all know and love about regular NXT, but not in a bad way. So definitely worth checking out. And NXT UK TakeOver Cardiff is streaming this Saturday on the WWE Network, so be sure to check that out. It's got a pretty stacked card. The 2 main events are really good with Toni Storm versus Kaylee Ray and Walter versus Tyler Bate. Both of those should be great matches. My number 4 pick for this week is from Monday Night Raw, and it sees Cesaro versus Cedric Alexander in a non-King of the Ring matchup. I'm really, really happy that Cedric Alexander seems to be getting a sustained push on Raw. He's been one of my favorites for a while. I first saw him in Ring of Honor back in 2015. He was feuding with Moose and Veda Scott, and I thought just everything about all 3 of them together was a great feud. They had a big, I guess it was a street fight or just a no DQ match, I remember, and I thought that was excellent. And ever since then, I've been a Cedric Alexander fan. And then he came into the Cruiserweight Classic, had a great run, had that insane match with Kota Ibushi, and, you know, he was one of the standouts on 205 Live, even through the dark times. And I really think that he has a great look to him. He's got charisma. Mike's skills aren't the best. He's kind of in that Ricochet zone where he's a great in-ring talent and he has charisma, but he's not the most well-versed on the microphone. And I think that will probably be a detriment to him as we go forward. I think with promo classes or a mouthpiece, he could be a very, very strong upper mid-card, possibly breaking the main event barrier. I don't know if that'll ever happen, but I would like to see it because Cedric he's a great guy, and I really think that he deserves everything he's gotten. So I'm really happy to see that they're giving him a sustained push. And Cesaro is somebody who pretty much everybody loves. I think it's just everybody knows how good Cesaro is and how he deserves to have an actual push, and it doesn't seem like it's happening on Raw. However, after all, they did release a video of him saying he is going to NXT UK TakeOver Cardiff, and that he's going to be taking a hands-on approach. So it seems to be hinting that those rumors of Cesaro going over to NXT UK are coming true, and we're going to see something with him. And then on top of that, Cassius Ohno, who is also over in NXT UK currently, tweeted out teasing a Kings of Wrestling reunion for NXT UK. And I have to say, if that comes true and we see Cassius Ohno and Cesaro teaming up as a major tag team over there, I feel like it's got to put some eyes on the product. I feel like that's a really strong team to add to that roster, and Cesaro's a big enough name where it will get people to go watch that show. So I gotta say, this seems like a really strong move on WWE's part, so hats off to them. Now, with Drew McIntyre losing his shot in King of the Ring this week, can we see Drew McIntyre maybe head over to NXT UK? I feel like that's a really strong option, but that remains to be seen. Anyways, this match was really good. I think it was a great showcase for both guys, mainly Cedric. Cesaro didn't come out looking weak or anything. He got some big, nice power moves here, but like Cedric continues to steal the show week in and week out ever since they started pushing him when he was feuding with McIntyre pre-SummerSlam. Every single performance this guy gives, he gets the crowd behind him, he gets over, and he's just so good at everything. His selling is top notch. I have one thing I don't like, his theme song. It's not the best, but WWE's running a string right now where all of their theme songs are really either hit or miss. Like, you'll have something like The Fiend, which is great, but then you'll have something like Buddy Murphy, which is god awful. So we'll see, but this match is definitely one to go watch if you haven't seen it. I know Raw's 3 hours, so everybody doesn't always watch it, but this is one to go watch. It's not part of King of the Ring, but Cedric is still in the tournament. Cesaro's not. And Cedric's facing Samoa Joe next week, I think. And I gotta say, I wouldn't be surprised if Cedric makes it to the semifinals. I would assume he does. I would assume Cedric beats Joe, and then we get Corbin versus Cedric in the semis. So I can't complain about that, I'm a big fan of Cedric Alexander, and I hope that, he gets to the semifinals, at least, maybe even the finals. But that remains to be seen. Go check out this match. It's definitely worth your time. And it's not too long either, so yeah, this gets a thumbs up from me. Coming in at number 3 this week, we have Buddy Murphy versus Ali from the King of the Ring tournament. And this is a battle of former 205 Live stars, former Cruiserweight champion and Buddy Murphy, who, like I said previously, this man needs a new theme song. The new one they gave him is seriously terrible. I don't know why they changed it from the dubstep cowboy song. I can't defend this. It's just generic rock song number 7. It's not for me. Buddy deserves something better. Ali, however, his theme song still works. I'm a big fan of it, and they changed his Titantron and everything. It's now green instead of blue. That's fine. It's cool to see some variation for his colors, so nice. Anyway, match itself, great job from these guys. This was a great television match. If you've been following the series, I'm a big Buddy Murphy fan, and I don't think I've gotten to talk about Ali. I really like him. I've liked him since the since the Cruiserweight Classic. I think he's been a great addition to the main roster. It's a shame he got injured when he did, but it also was the reason that we got Kofi's rise to the top and his ultimate WWE win, their WWE Championship win, sorry. So it was a battle of a situation where it's Ali gets injured and taken out of Mania, but Kofi gets the title shot. So what would have happened if Ali didn't get injured? Would Ali have gotten the title shot? Would he have even won? And what would Kofi be doing at Mania? So it's a what-if scenario. We'll never know, but it remains to be seen. But Ali's back. He got shafted out of a Intercontinental title shot against Nakamura in favor of The Miz. Not really a big fan of that because The Miz is a Raw superstar, and Ali's been on Smackdown and had a reason to get the title shot, but whatever, can't change that. If Ali ends up winning this tournament, then I guess it's justified as long as they don't bury him with a king gimmick. But I don't know. But this match was great. Again, these two have great chemistry. I would definitely like to see a title program between the two of them down the line. Probably, I would assume it's for the Intercontinental title, unless maybe somehow one of them gets the WWE Championship. Don't know if that'll happen, but we'll see. These guys are just great. I was kind of shocked at the win for Ali, but at the same time, Murphy, no, because Murphy just beat Daniel Bryan last week, so it's like Murphy wins against Daniel Bryan and then loses against Ali, but I'm not complaining. It's just kind of strange that you would give Murphy that big of a win and then just cut him off this week. I wouldn't say it's a loss of momentum, but it was kind of strange for me. Either way, happy for Ali. And I hope Buddy Murphy doesn't just like fall out of the card completely now that his King of the Ring is over. I could see him kind of just disappearing from TV again, which I really hope isn't the case. He's been getting himself so over with the crowd. Like, there were points in this match where people were chanting for Murphy and not Ali. So take that as you will, but Buddy Murphy's getting over with the crowds, and I really hope that they give him something to do because he deserves it. But if you haven't seen SmackDown, this is my match recommendation for that show. Without a doubt, the best card on the entire show. And some questionable booking and story decisions happened as well on SmackDown. So, SmackDown's, I have no idea how, but SmackDown has really started to lose interest for me. Like, I think Raw's the better show right now, surprisingly. Raw's still longer, but, like, SmackDown just seems to be dragging. And I've seen people praising it, like Vince's rewrites of the show are, like, saving SmackDown. The past 3 weeks for SmackDown have been almost unwatchable for me. I've just been so bored. But Raw's been doing pretty good, so thumbs up to Raw. Besides, like, the tag team turmoil thing, Ziggler and Bobby Roode should not have won that match in no way. But that's not what the show is. So anyway, go watch Buddy Murphy versus Ali from SmackDown Live this past week. You won't regret it because, again, it's a nice short match, but it has some great in-ring work from both guys. My number 2 pick this week is from 205 Live, and it is the number 1 contenders match for the Cruiserweight Championship at Clash of Champions, and it is Oney Lorcan versus Humberto Carillo. And my big knock to this match is not on either wrestler, but easily one of the weakest 205 Live crowds in recent memory. This crowd was dead. Like, they reacted to nearly nothing in this match, and it was such a detriment to this. It hurts when you have such a good match in front of such a dead crowd and they're just, like, not getting into it for no reason. Like, you're paying the money to sit there. I don't understand why you're not, like, just getting into this. Like, I don't get it. But that's beside the point. Humberto and Oney had an excellent match here. Top to bottom, this was great stuff, and it was really a back and forth contest that either guy could have won. And one of the things to note here is that apparently Humberto has not been pinned for the last 5 months. That's pretty insane. So good for him, honestly, because he's been a pretty big mainstay on 205 Live during that period. It's not like he's had 2 matches over the past 5 months. But yeah, these two really clicked. I'm a big fan of both guys. I've been saying that. I guess since before Gulak won the belt, I said that if Gulak won at Stomping Grounds when he did, that they've been really booking 205 Live well, where they've been creating a bunch of baby faces that Gulak can go up against. We saw him go up against Tony Nese, we saw him go up against Oney Lorcan, and now we're seeing him up against Humberto. And while I think Humberto is definitely a future champion, I don't think it's going to be his time at Clash of Champions. And so after him, you still have a bunch of more competitors that you can use. You have Chad Gable you can use if he comes back to 205 Live, which I really hope he does. I would kill to see God, I keep saying Jack like Jack Gallagher. I would kill to see Drew Gulak versus Chad Gable. That match would be something just spectacular. You also have people you could always throw Drake Maverick in there. That would be an interesting thing to do. Him and Gulak kind of gotten into it in the past, so they have history. And I really would enjoy seeing Drake Maverick versus Drew Gulak. You also have Akira Tozawa there you can use. You have Jack Gallagher as well, who's kind of towing the line right now as a babyface / heel. So that remains to be seen. And then my big one that I truly hope they go back to is if Humberto loses to Gulak at Clash of Champions, I'm praying that we see Isaiah Swerve Scott come up to 205 Live's roster and go after the Cruiserweight Championship, or if rumors are true and 205 Live does end up getting canceled, I hope that the Cruiserweight division just gets merged into NXT so they have a spot when it goes to USA Network, and you can still do the Drew Gulak versus Isaiah Swerve Scott feud, but then you can also do something where you can do Gulak versus Kushida, because Kushida's down in NXT, and I would really like to see that match for the title. But yeah, this match was good, great even, and the only thing really holding it back is that crowd. Like, it's probably better to watch this match on mute, just because it's so just hard to get past that crowd just not reacting to anything, even though these guys are doing some great work. There were so many good spots in this match, and sequences as well. These guys just bounce off each other like nothing. It looks like art, and the crowd's just sitting there silently with maybe a couple people like trying to chant or clap along, and everybody else is just sitting there just on their phones. It's so heartbreaking to see. But this match definitely gets a recommendation from me. If you can get past the crowd, this is a great match. And I really hope that 205 Live has a brighter future. I think if it does end up getting merged with NXT, I think for a while it'll be really strong, because you'll have cruiserweight matches in front of the Full Sail crowd, since NXT's not touring, surprisingly, for the rest of the year. But we'll see. I'm kind of scared for 205 Live's future, but maybe it'll be okay. But this is definitely a match to watch. Humberto Carillo versus Oney Lorcan. Go watch it from 205 Live this week. Taking the top spot this week for my list is Dominik Dijakovic versus Keithley from NXT, and boy, what a match this was. I've been really high on Dijak for a while, and I'm really happy he's back from injury. Same for Keithley, who is somebody who's been in NXT for what seems like a while now and hasn't really gotten to do anything. I know part of that is because of injury, but even when he's not been injured, they just don't seem to really know what to do with him, and that's a goddamn shame. So I'm hoping that this match is a sign of things to come for these two. I really hope that they're ready to pull the trigger on one of them or both of them. These two had one of the best TV matches of the year for sure, and I was a big fan of this throughout. Some real hard-hitting stuff and just a really strong hoss fight here. These two are both very big men. Dijak's super tall. Keithley's just a very big guy, and they're both so athletic. They literally do moves that like you would see like cruiserweights do, which is incredible. So you have two really big future stars in NXT right there, and I hope that neither of them gets like lost in the shuffle when things go to 2 hours. But really happy to see this match. It was supposed to happen a couple months ago, but both guys got injured, and I think Dijakovic, is the one who tore his meniscus, and now he's back and looking better than ever, so that's great for him. The less I say about this match, the better, just because there's a lot of stuff in here that just like, I feel like it's better to see as a surprise, so I highly recommend going to the network and going to check this out. You won't be disappointed. Again, Dijakovic, I keep saying Dijak, but Dijakovic and Keithley both have just incredible chemistry with each other, and like the one big move here is just insane. I saw it on Twitter like during the tapings before this came out, and Jesus Christ. Again, don't want to spoil anything, just because, again, if I do, it's not going to be a big surprise, and I feel like that's better saved as a surprise. So just going to stay kind of quiet on here and be vague, but this is definitely a match to go watch. If you're not watching NXT religiously, or if you're behind, just watch this match. It's not the main event. The main event is Undisputed Era versus Street Profits for the NXT Tag Championships. I do think this is probably the better match, at least for me. So again, highly recommend this. Just all the thumbs up for this. And I really, truly hope that these two both get some pushes. Maybe for like the North American title. I wouldn't mind seeing Dijakovic versus Velveteen Dream. That's something I would very much like to see. And if for some reason they want to get rid of Velveteen Dream and send him up to main roster before NXT goes to 2 hours, which I can't imagine they want to do, Dijakovic is a strong contender to take that North American title from him. So that's just me, but this match gets all my praise for this week, and it easily, without a doubt, earns the top spot for this week's 5 matches to watch. All right, and with all that being said, that brings us to the end of this week's video. Thank you for joining me for another episode of 5 Matches to Watch. I hope you enjoyed my list, and if you agreed or disagreed, let me know in the comments below, as well as drop any matches that I didn't name here from any promotion down in the comments. I'd love to hear what you guys have been watching, what you're interested in, what you liked, what you didn't like, so be sure to do that. Be sure to leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it, or leave a dislike if you didn't, you know, fair game. And also be sure to subscribe to Deep Six Wrestling. We have a bunch of videos. We have Rob covering, he's currently doing the Glorious or Rotten Wrestlemania Rewind, where he's going back and reviewing all the WrestleManias from 1 through 35. So, you know, that's something, and it's long, but, you know, he's putting in some really good effort, and his thoughts are coming across really strong. So definitely go check that out. Geriatrics is back, or has made his debut on the channel, and he just released his King of the Ring predictions last week, although it's only for the first round, but you can go check that out. And we have plenty of other content here, so be sure to subscribe to us, and also be sure to follow us over on Twitter at Deep Six Wrestling, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, for live coverage of all your favorite wrestling events. We're pretty active on Twitter, so be sure to give us a follow, and we'll be sure to, you know, engage with you when you tweet us. And with that being said, that's the end of the video, and I will be back next week with another episode of 5 Matches to Watch. Until then, peace.